You don't even need to consider the enemy to be your friend. As long as you don't consider your enemy to be your enemy, that's good enough for your enemy. This is what Muawiyah did with the Khawarij. Muawiyah did this with the Khawarij. Khawarij didn't join Muawiyah. All of you know this. But he didn't need them to join Muawiyah. All he needed them to do was not to consider Muawiyah alone to be the enemy, but to rather consider Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullah alayhi as being the enemy. That's all he needed to do. They were with Ali ibn Abi Talib. They considered him to be their leader, their Amir. But he convinced them that this Amir of theirs, this Khalifa of theirs, is not their Khalifa. They considered him kafir. You've heard the stories. These were people that knew the Quran inside out. They say the most difficult battle that Amir al-Mu'mineen fought was the battle of Nahrawan with the Khawarij. There were people that prayed, so much so that you've heard the descriptions. They had huge sujood marks on their foreheads. So they worshipped God a lot more than I for sure have. I don't know about you guys. They worshipped God like that. They had the Quran with them. They had it memorized. But they were tricked with the Quran to believe the living Quran is kafir. Don't think that that's not going to happen to us. It is actually happening to us, brothers and sisters. It is happening to us. It is happening to the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullah alayhi today. Not 1,000 years ago. Today it is happening. How is it happening today? Because we have people that are our friends, but we have been convinced that they are not our friends. There is this very serious effort, brothers and sisters, to try to disconnect the believers, especially the Shia, from the ulama. There's a serious effort going on. Very serious effort. To try to create a disconnect between the ulama and the masses. The Shia masses. Between the maraja and the Shia masses. Why are they doing that? Because they have seen historically what has saved the Shia from deviation, what has saved them from the animosity of the enemies of Islam, what has prevented the enemies of Islam from being able to defeat the Shia, whereas everybody else has been defeated on the face of this earth, is the strong bond and connection of wilayah between ulama, maraja, and the masses. They have experienced it over and over and over. One of the examples is with Imam Khomeini, may Allah bless his soul. The 22nd of Bahman, which is the day they say the revolution succeeded, there was a curfew that they said if a single soul steps on the streets of Tehran out of their homes, they will be shot. And they threatened people. There was a plot. If the people would have stayed home, what they were going to do was that they were going to get Imam Khomeini and the others that were with him, finish them all off, and that would be the end of the revolution. That was the plot. Imam Khomeini told the people, everybody tomorrow morning needs to be out on the streets. Everybody needs to be out on the streets. This is scary. They're saying we're going to shoot anyone that's going to come on the streets. Imam Khomeini says, everybody pour to the streets. What are you going to do? People listened. People listened. Everybody came out on the streets. And this government that was supported by the United States of America, and before that by the British, is now gone. They have felt this, brothers and sisters. They have seen how when Ayatollah Sistani, may Allah give him a long life, issues a fatwa in Iraq, that's what's going to fly. They have realized that. Others come, different things are said. It doesn't matter. If you want to stop the bloodshed, sectarian bloodshed, Ayatollah Sistani have to say, Shias, you don't do this. That was it. Daesh attacked. ISIL or ISIS or Islamic State, whatever you like to call it. The Iraqi army that the Americans had trained, they gave up major cities easily. Easily. There needs to be people that are going to go and fight. Ayatollah Sistani had to say, all Iraqis in Iraq, go to the war fronts, defend the country. What do you have today? The Americans are using their jets, lying and saying that we're going to be destroying ISIL, but they're not. Who is getting rid of ISIL? It's the Iraqi people by the order of Ayatollah Sistani. They want to make you think that Ayatollah Khamenei is your enemy. God forbid he's the enemy of Ayatollah Sistani. There's this thing that is between them. No, first it was Ayatollah Khomeini and Imam Khomeini, now it's Ayatollah Sistani. What is this? Why do we buy into this garbage? We're fed this misinformation. Unfortunately, some people have these feelings towards any of the Maraja, especially they're attacking Ayatollah Khamenei more than anyone. When the enemies, brothers and sisters, are trying to fool you that a marja', a pious scholar that has sacrificed his life, almost martyred when he was giving a lecture earlier on during the revolution, after the success of the revolution, which is why his right arm doesn't function as it used to, as a result of that bombing. Put his life on the line. They want to convince you that this is your enemy. And the Americans are your friend. The enemies are friends. The friends are enemies. Remember the hadith. If you remember the hadith from the Holy Prophet, it said, the real believers are going to be the ones that during the time of the occultation, they will follow the lead of the Imam of our time and do what? يَتَوَلَّى أَوْلِيَاءَهُ. First, considering the awliya of the Imam of our time as their awliya, the friends of the Imam of our time as their friends. Then it says they consider the enemies of that Imam as their enemies. The institution of the Hawza, which trains ulama, pious maraja', is an institution that was established by the Ahlul Bayt, by the A'imma. The ambassadors of the Imam of our time during the minor occultation are ulama trained by the A'imma. Those ulama train the next generation of the ulama, and them the next generation, and them the next generation, until today. The maraja' that you have, Ayatollah al-Uzma Sistani, Ayatollah al-Uzma Khamenei, Ayatollah al-Uzma Makarim Shirazi, Ayatollah al-Uzma, all of these maraja'. These are students of teachers who were students of teachers who were students of teachers of the students of the Ahlul Bayt. The Imam of our time went into occultation telling us, as the Shia of the Imam, that during the time that I'm not with you, you refer to the ulama, the pious ulama. The enemy wants to make you think that, oh no, Ayatollah Sistani in Najaf, how does he feel? How does he know what we're going through here? Oh, Ayatollah Sistani, God forbid, I'm sorry for saying this. These are things that people are saying, unfortunately. Like, oh, we see this with the office, we see this with the management of Homs, Ayatollah Sistani, this, that, the other. A bunch of things about Ayatollah Khamenei. And then, God forbid, they make it seem like these two are enemies. Al-ayadhu billah. God forbid. One of the greatest lies. You want to make your friends, your leaders, seem like enemies to you, that you're afraid to even talk about them. This is the way it's portrayed, and unfortunately, the way I see it, I don't know, I see most believers falling for that.